Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. نويت التعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we continue on our Darus Kitab Risalatul Jami'ah by Habib Ahmad bin Zaid al-Habshi. We have arrived at integrals of Hajj, the arkan of Hajj. So we have mentioned the arkan of Hajj are 5, and we have went through a few. We have went through number 1 and 2. So 6 arkan. Okay, in Risalatul Jami'ah stated 5, but some scholars have added the sixth integral. So last week we have went through Ihram and standing at Arafah. So now number 3 is Tawaf, circumambulation, Tawaf. A Tawaf is also known as Tawaf is, when they say Tawaf in Hajj, there are many Tawaf. Tawaf, when is the Rukun, is the integral, it is known as Tawaf al-Ifadah. This is the one that is required to validate the Hajj ritual. It's also known as Tawaf al-Rukun, Tawaf al-Fard, Tawaf al-Ziyarah, Tawaf al-Sabr. From the Quran, it stated, Suratul Hajj, وَلْيَطَوَّفُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ, and perform Tawaf around the ancient house. So Tawaf Sunnah, there is also Tawaf Sunnah that can be performed independently without entering Hajj or without entering Ihram for Hajj or Umrah. But when talking about the Rukun, the integral of Hajj is the Tawaf Ifadah. The Tawaf Ifadah. Tawaf Ifadah is the one that validates the Hajj. It is the one that is required. Without it, then the Hajj won't be valid. So there are conditions for the Tawaf al-Ifadah. Tawaf al-Ifadah, there are 10 conditions to be met before it can be considered valid. So the first one is covering the aurah. The same aurah that is supposed to be covered in Salah and anywhere else. The same aurah for both men and women. And second one is being in state of purity, tahara. You must have wudu, free from small and big hadath. Taharatu anil hadathain. And yeah, you must have wudu for doing tawaf. Unlike sa'i can be done without wudu, without tahara. But for tawaf, you must have wudu. And most likely, if like for us, Madhab Ash-Shafi'i, when you touch between an ajnabi and ajnabiyah, a man and woman, the wudu will be nullified. So it's very hard when it's during Hajj season. When you're doing Hajj, it will be very hard to keep your wudu. So what we do is we just do taglid to Imam Malik or Imam Abu Hanifah. So you take wudu as per normal, then you do all the sunnah, including what is that? Including all the sunnah. You do all the sunnah, including that is rubbing of massaging the hands and legs and feet and also the head. And for the head, you wipe the whole head. So in this case, you follow like that. Then you taglid to Imam Malik and Abu Hanifah. So when an ajnabiyah touches you, it won't be nullified unless with shahwa. And then number three is clean from najasah. Taharah anin najasah thawb wal badan wal makan is clean from najasah on your clothes and your body and the place that you are doing the tawaf. But then of course, what is that? Is forgiven, mafu, little najasah on the like mataf, the place where you tawaf. Sometimes, sometimes there will be filth from the birds and all this stuff. This is forgiven because it's very hard to control. Although they always clean the place, but it's normal for the birds to fly in and out and drop the droppings down there. So if suppose when you tawaf there is birds dropping, as long as it's not wet and it's dried and it's a bit, it's mafu. Don't think about it too much. But on your body and clothes, you must be clear from najasa. Then number 4 is the Kaaba to be on your the left shoulder. When you do the tawaf, the Kaaba, your left shoulder should be on the pointing towards the Kaaba. So the Kaaba should be on your left shoulder, and then you turn, walk around the Kaaba. So you are doing circles around the Kaaba. You are walking around the Kaaba with your left shoulder, pointing towards the Kaaba. Always must be pointing towards the Kaaba. I mean, must always be parallel to the Kaaba. So this is okay. Okay. Number 4, number 5, number 4 is okay, Kaaba on your left. Then number 5 is start from Hajar Aswad, the black stone. When you the tawaf will be the point where you start the tawaf is at the Hajar Aswad. You cannot exceed that point. You must stand behind the Hajar Aswad and then you start. Once you start from the Hajar Aswad, your left shoulder should be pointing towards should be the left of the Kaaba should be on your left already. Then you walk around the Kaaba in that way. Then number 6, align the entire body, left side of your body with Hajar Aswad at the start of the tawaf. This means that at the start, when you start at the Hajar Aswad, that point, your whole body must be aligned to Hajar Aswad. You cannot start with like let's say your body is your left shoulder is what is that? Okay, um, when your feet is past the have already passed the Hajar Aswad, then you align your body, or like half. Some align one feet is in and one feet is before the Hajar Aswad and one feet after the Hajar Aswad. Then you start to align your left shoulder to the Kaaba. This is incorrect. You must align first, then start. So you can start before the Hajar Aswad. then it's easier. Before the Hajar Aswad, you align everything straight. Your left shoulder pointing towards the Kaabah. Then you start moving. The starting point will be Hajar Aswad, and it ends at the Hajar Aswad. So that's one round. From Hajar Aswad to the Hajar Aswad is one round. So if you start after the Hajar Aswad and you move towards make one round and you reach the Hajar Aswad, that's not counted. Then you go for your second round. This is your second round is actually the first round, the starting of the first round. So this is very important to start before the Hajar Aswad. So if at the Mataf is the place where you do the tawaf, there will be a green light showing that this is the point where Hajar Aswad is, because down there'll be a lot of people, and some of us cannot even like get near to the Hajar Aswad. Then last time there was a lining like this is the line where you start, but now I think they took it off. They took away the line, but there is a green light. So before the green light, you get ready. Then once you reach the green light, you can start do your tawaf. And the tawaf can be done at the second level also. Second level, third level, it doesn't matter as long as your shoulder points is the Kaaba is only on your perpendicular to your left shoulder. So it's actually easier to do nearer, and you do a smaller round, and you won't go wrong on your the Kaaba being on your left shoulder. Because if you do from the top, second floor or third floor, then there'll be occasions where when you turn, your shoulder won't be pointing towards your left shoulder won't be pointing towards the Kaaba. This is a problem. So make sure the most important one is your left shoulder is pointing towards the Kaaba. And number 7, must carry out 7 rounds with certainty. So if the tawaf is 7 rounds, so you must do it 7 rounds with certainty. If you do and then you do the tawaf and then you have a shak, you don't know whether it's 5 or 6, then you take is the 5th round. If 6 or 7, you take the 6th round. So you take the lesser round just to confirm. So once you complete your 7th round, then you still have doubts whether this is 7 or 6. Then you do one more round just to confirm you completed 7. Number 8 must be carried out inside the masjid, inside the Masjid Haram. So outside Mataf, second or third level is permitted, like I said just now. So it must be within the masjid area. You cannot do outside. You cannot do the tawaf outside the mosque. The mosque is huge. It's very big. So you can do anywhere within the mosque premise. So you can do it on the second floor, third floor. It doesn't matter as long as it's within the mosque. The best is at the Mataf itself. The Mataf is where is specifically for doing tawaf. It's a huge space. Then number 9 is the tawaf must be carried out outside the Kaabah Shazarwan, outside the Kaabah Shazarwan and Hijr Ismail. So the tawaf must be carried out within the mosque, but outside the Kaabah. You cannot do the tawaf inside the Kaabah. If let's say you have the chance to enter the Kaabah, you cannot do the tawaf in the Kaabah. It must be outside. It must be outside the Kaabah, and your legs, especially your legs, when you go around the tawaf, when you're doing the tawaf, is not supposed to touch the shadar one. Shadar one is the is it's like foundational stones for the actual the original Kaaba. So this is at the bottom part. It's very small, and it's like 1 foot uh, that height around that. So you mustn't touch that shadar one. So you must be away from that shadar one and outside Hijr Ismail. Hijr Ismail is like a curved um, stone, built up stone. So you must tawaf outside. You cannot enter because Hijr Ismail is in between Hijr Ismail and then the Kaaba. It's a semicircle shape, like pointing in front of the Kaaba on one side. So you must go behind Hijr Ismail because Hijr Ismail is considered part of the Kaaba as well. Then number 10, tawaf must be intended for tawaf and not others. Example, walking towards someone or just walking. So it must be intended when you do the tawaf. It must be intended for tawaf. You cannot like you 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 happen to walk across the the Kaaba and it looks like tawaf. Then after that you thought, okay, why not this? That's the tawaf. That won't be enough. It must be intended for tawaf. It can be intended for both, like tawaf and walking or exercising or whatever, but it must be intended for tawaf. If you're walking around the Kaaba for just to walk, or with the intention of exercising or jogging or whatever intention to meet a friend, then it won't be counted as tawaf. Okay, the time of tawaf. The time of tawaf for Hajj, it starts from the night of 10th Zulhijjah. Uh, it's on the Eid, Idul Adha, the night. From the night of 10th of Zulhijjah onwards. There's no end time. But best to be carried out for Hajj is to be carried out within the day of 10th Zulhijjah, before Zuhur. Then return to Mina to pray Zuhur there. This is the Sunnah. It must be done within like by Zuhur time of the Eid day, the 10th of Zulhijjah. But you can do as long as when the night of 10 Zulhijjah you can start doing. There is makruh to delay it past 10th of Zulhijjah in Madhab Shafi. Can only be done after wukuf in Arafah. So if you don't do wukuf in Arafah, you cannot do the what is that? Not the tawaf. So you must do wukuf first, then the tawaf, because it's in sequence. Then for Umrah, anytime. Tawaf is anytime. Once you reach uh, the Haram, then you can start doing your tawaf anytime. There's no like time you cannot do to tawaf. Anytime is possible for tawaf, for Umrah. Once he has entered Ihram, but must enter Ihram first. Once he have entered Ihram, then he enter from the Miqat. Enter Ihram at the Miqat. Then he enter Masjid Haram. Once he reaches Masjid Haram, he can do his tawaf. For Umrah is easy, it's flexible. Then number 4, the fourth arkan, the fourth rukun is going between Safa and Marwa. This is called sa'i. So sa'i is going between Safa and Marwa. So Safa Marwa is two hills, small hills. So this is the ritual of walking back and forth 7 times between the two hills of Safa and Marwa, located adjacent to the Kaaba in Masjid al-Haram. So from the Kaaba you can see actually the location of Safa and Marwa is nearby. So you have to walk from Safa to Marwa, considered one lap, then Marwa to Safa another lap. So you will walk like this: Safa Marwa, Marwa Safa, Safa Marwa, Marwa Safa, 7 times. So but you must start at Safa. So the Quran stated Surah Al-Baqarah, Inna Safa wal Marwa min sya'airillah faman hajjal baita aw i'tamara fala junaha alaihi an yattawafa bihima. Indeed, Safa and Al Marwa are among the symbols of Allah. So whoever makes Hajj to the house or performs Umrah, there is no blame upon him for walking between them. And from the hadith, Ya Yuhanna Sus'au in fa'inna sa'ya qad kataba alaikum. O people, perform the sa'i as it has been written upon you. So this shows that the sa'i is an obligation for those doing Hajj and also Umrah. The conditions for sa'i, there are 6. The first one is to start from Safa on the odds. So the first, third, fifth, and seventh start from Safa. And to start from Marwa on the even, second, fourth, sixth, you start from Marwa. So Safa between must be 7 laps within the specified locations. The location of in between Safa and Marwa. You cannot go if you go at the location of Safa Marwa is already like marked. There is a like a boundary, so just follow that. It's quite straightforward. Safa to Marwa is considered one lap, and Marwa to Safa is another. So the first lap you'll be doing from Safa to Marwa. Third lap, fifth lap, seventh lap, and on the second, fourth, and sixth you'll be going from Marwa to Safa. So must be fourth condition must be after a valid tawaf. It's either tawaf ifadah or tawaf gudum. Tawaf al gudum. Tawaf al gudum is the tawaf when you enter the haram for the first time. So when you enter, it's sunnah to tawaf al gudum. So once you do tawaf gudum, it's considered your tawaf ifadah is considered done. Then number 5, okay, number 4 just now must be after a valid tawaf. So sa'i is there's no like sunnah sa'i like tawaf. Tawaf there is a tawaf sunnah. You can do tawaf whenever you want. Like once you done your tawaf ifadah and tawaf al gudum, tawaf al whatever. There is tawaf gudum, tawaf ifadah. Then there is also tawaf. What is that? Uh, tawaf tawaf wada. Tawaf wida. It's like the goodbye tawaf. So and then there is also tawaf sunnah where you just do tawaf with the intention of tawaf sunnah. Because for foreigner especially, for those who are not residing in the haram, it's best for them to when they reach the Masjid Haram, tawaf is better for them than prayer. I mean for sunnah. So like when they have free time, they have a choice to do tawaf or sunnah prayer. Then for them it's better for them to do tawaf. But doesn't mean that sunnah prayer is not sunnah. It's still sunnah, but it's just because they are not residing in Makkah. not residing in the haram, so they seldom goes to the Kaaba. So once they are there, so the best for them is to tawaf. Mm. So after they perform the tawaf, then only they can perform the sa'i. So the sa'i will be followed by tawaf ifadah or tawaf gudum. Uh, then number 5, laps must be intended for performing sa'i, like tawaf just now. Same thing, you must when you do the sa'i, the walking from Safa and Marwa, and Marwa to Safa, must be intended for the purpose of sa'i and not for just walking or meeting someone or chasing after someone is not counted. Number 6, must not divert to somewhere between the laps. Example, heading towards the Kaaba and return to continue sa'i. Although short diversions are allowed. Example, stop in between to drink Zamzam. So when you are doing sa'i from Safa to Marwa, let's say example, from Safa to Marwa, in between there are Zamzam stations that you can drink. You can stop for a while and drink. This is permitted. This is permissible. You can stop for a while and drink. Or if you're too tired, you can stop. If you're really tired, then you can stop for a while to sit down and whatever. But for a short while, not to like, let's say you're from Marwa to Safa. Then Marwa to Safa, you can see the Kaaba. So you're while doing the walk on the sa'i from Marwa to Safa, then you decided, okay, I'll go to the Kaaba for a while. Then you come back, continue. This is not permissible. This is you cannot do this. You must go straight. I mean, like continue your sa'i first. Then you can go for the Kaaba and whatever. So you cannot divert to somewhere else. Then continue. Except for short diversion, like within that area, stop for a drink, zam, then you continue. That's okay. Then the time for sa'i is only after a valid tawaf. It's either after tawaf ifadah or tawaf gudum. There's no sa'i sunnah sa'i, like you just do sa'i independently. There's no such thing. Mm. It must be followed by after a tawaf. So only after a valid tawaf ifadah or tawaf gudum for both Hajj and Umrah. There is no time frame for sa'i. For both Hajj and Umrah, you can do anytime after tawaf ifadah or tawaf gudum. Tawaf gudum. Then for Hajj Tamattu, sa'i should be performed twice. Once after tawaf Umrah and another after tawaf al-ifadah. Because Tamattu, you do your Umrah first. Once you complete your tawaf for Umrah, most likely the tawaf will be the tawaf gudum. Tawaf gudum. After tawaf gudum, you do your sa'i. Then you halak, you shorten your hair. Then that's it. Your Umrah is done. Then once the time comes, on the 8th normally, you will ihram again and enter ihram with the intention of Hajj. And then your Hajj starts. So you have one more tawaf. Uh, After tawaf ifadah, you do your sa'i again. Uh, so for Hajj Tamattu, you have two sa'is. One for Umrah and one for Hajj. Kiran, you have one. You can Kiran or Ifrat, sa'i should be carried out once after either Tawaf al-Qudum or Tawaf al-Ifadah. So if it is performed after Tawaf al-Qudum, on arrival, after you arrive, once you arrive at Mecca, at the Haram, then you do your Tawaf al-Qudum, then you no longer have to perform the sa'i after your tawaf ifadah. The tawaf ifadah still there is still there, but you don't need to do your sa'i. For Hajj Ifrat. And Ibn Hajar says it is better to perform the sa'i after tawaf al-qudum. But Imam Ramli says it is better to perform it after tawaf al-ifadah, because once if you do ifrat, then you can only let's say you reach the haram on the 6 of Zulhijjah, so you can only uh, do your tawaf um, on the 10th. So you can do your tawaf gudum first on the 6th when you reach. Then you with the intention of Hajj, right? Hajj Ifrat. So you do your tawaf gudum first. Then you wait until the 8th. Then you start your Hajj ritual, Mina and the what going towards Arafah and Mina and all. Then on the 10th, then you can do your tawaf ifadah. So after your tawaf gudum, you can actually do your sa'i already. Although sa'i is supposed to be after the tawaf al-ifadah, but in this case you can bring forward your sa'i, do it after tawaf al-gudum. So Ibn Hajar says it's better to perform after tawaf al-gudum. Then on the 10th, you have to do again your tawaf ifadah. But after your tawaf ifadah, you don't need to do your sa'i, because your sa'i is already done for after the tawaf al-qudum. But Ibn Hajar says it's better to perform the sa'i after tawaf ifadah. That means after your tawaf al-qudum, you don't do sa'i first. Just do whatever you want. You can do tawaf sunnah, you can read the Quran, whatever you want to do, but you don't do the sa'i first. Then after the 10th of Zulhijjah, you you do your tawaf ifadah. Then after that, you do your sa'i. This is according to Imam Ramli. So either way, you can do it. You can do your sa'i for Haji, for Hajj, Haji Kiran and Haji Ifrat. You can do either after Tawaf al-Qudum or Tawaf al-Ifadah. So if one performs the Tawaf al-Qudum and did not perform the sa'i after that, but then he proceed for wukuf bi Arafah. He goes to Arafah to do the wukuf. Now he cannot perform the sa'i because after Tawaf al-Qudum he did not do his sa'i. He proceed for wukuf instead. So after wukuf he said, okay, I want to do sa'i. No, you cannot do. You have to do your Tawaf al-Ifadah first. Tawaf al-Ifadah. Once you've done your Tawaf al-Ifadah, then you can perform your sa'i, because sa'i must be performed after Tawaf. Okay, sa'i cannot be performed as an independent act of worship. It must be first preceded by assuming ihram, either for Hajj or Umrah. There's no like tawaf. You can even without ihram, you can do your tawaf. There's an independent tawaf, like which is not tied to Hajj or Umrah. It's just tawaf. It's known for as tawaf sunnah. But sa'i, there's no sa'i sunnah. It must be preceded by assuming ihram first for Hajj and Umrah, then tawaf, then you can do sa'i. But sa'i can be performed even without wearing the ihram, the white robe, and without being in the state of ihram. Once you tahallul, your first tahallul, then you can do your sa'i also. There is so you can choose this. Um, you can choose to perform your what is it? Your tawaf and wukuf. Then you are free. You can do your first tahallul. You must be. There are, okay, I don't want to go into details too much. Because you have to do, there are a few things that you must do three, two or three, um, before you can get the first tahallul. So once you get the first tahallul, you can take out your ihram, and now you are not no longer in the state of ihram. Uh, then you can perform your sa'i. This is easier. Uh, but if you want to perform sa'i before doing your tahallul, also can. So it's flexible. That one we will go through inshallah when uh, later part when we reach the tahallul for Hajj. Then number 5, shaving or shortening the hair. Al-halaq. Shaving or shortening the hair is the cutting or shaving of at least 3 strands of hair using any methods. You can cut, you can shave, you can burn, you can pluck, you can pull, whatever method, as long as 3 strands. But you cannot cut the same. You take 1 strand, then you cut 3 times. That's not enough. Must be at least must be at least 3 strands. So for those who do not have any hair on their heads, this act of halak is permitted for him. But it is sunnah for him to run a shaver on his head. It's better for man to completely shave his head than to cut. Because the Prophet, there is a narration from the Prophet ﷺ, who had Rasulullah ﷺ had prayed twice for those who shave their heads. Then after the Sahabat, the companions asked for dua for those who cut their hair. Then Rasulullah SAW still pray for those who shave their heads. Then the companion prompt again, and those who cut their hair. And then Rasulullah SAW say, yeah, and may Allah. And then Rasulullah SAW prayed for them as well. So that shows that shaving is superior than to cut for men. Women, they cannot shave. They shouldn't shave, but they should cut a bit of hair and level it, not just cut anywhere. About 2 cm in length, that will be enough for women. And the time for the cutting from the middle part of the night of 10 Dhul Hijjah onwards, no end time. Anytime they can cut. Once they want to do the tahallul, then they can cut. Number 6 is the tartib, the sequence. So sequence in Hajj and Umrah is compulsory. In Umrah, it's compulsory, it's straightforward. You must follow all the sequence. Ihram, then Tawaf, then Sa'i, then Halak. But for Hajj, you can, most of it in sequence, but certain things you can, like just now I mentioned, you can do your Sa'i after Tawaf Qudum. Then you do your Tawaf Ifadah. That is some of the things that don't follow the sequence. But so it's for Hajj, it's compulsory to precede intention ihram above all the acts of Hajj and Umrah also. Then compulsory to precede wukuf before Tawaf Ifadah. So before wukuf, you cannot do the Tawaf Ifadah. Tawaf Qudum can. Tawaf Qudum is when you enter the Masjid Haram. But Tawaf Ifadah, you cannot, like, once you haven't do your wukuf, you cannot do your Tawaf Ifadah. It won't be counted. Then compulsory to precede Tawaf Ifadah before Sa'i. If not done after Tawaf Al-Qudum. So you must you must do your Sa'i only after you have done your tawaf ifadah, if not done before the after the tawaf qudum. If you have done after the tawaf qudum, then you don't need to do sa'i anymore. In some madhab, you have to do twice. After tawaf qudum, then tawaf ifadah, you can do another time. But for madhab Syafi'i, once is enough for haji tamattu, haji ifrad and haji qiran. But haji tamattu separate because it's a separate thing. You do umrah first, then sa'i. Umrah first, then hajj. So the sa'i for umrah is different. The sa'i for hajj is different. So of course you have to do twice sa'i. Then compulsory to precede wukuf before shaving. So you have to do the wukuf first before you can do your tahallul. So that is we have covered all the integrals, the arkan of hajj and umrah. So the umrah have been covered here. So we just read the matan from the book by Abdurrahman bin Zain. وأركان العمرة هي أركان الحج إلا الوقوف فليس منها ويجب للطواف ستر العورة والطهارة من الحدثين ومن النجاسة وأن يكون سبع طوافات في المسجد والبيت عن يساره وهو خارج عنه ويجب أن يكون سعيه سبعا وبعد طواف وأن يبدأ بالصفا ويختم بالمروة. So the translation, and the integrals of Umrah, they are the same as the integrals of Hajj, with the exception of standing at Arafah, so which is not one of them. So Arafah is standing at Arafah, wukuf bil Arafah is not the acts of Umrah. Only in Hajj you do this. So we have compared earlier the acts, the arkan of Umrah and Hajj. It's only this uh, uh, wukuf bil Arafah. The rest all you have the same arkan for Hajj and Umrah is the same. For Hajj you just add in wukuf bil Arafah. Necessary for the tawaf are the covering of the aura, the state of tahara from things which invalidate it, and from najasa, and that the tawaf is 7 circles inside the mosque and keeping the house Kaaba on one's left, and that one is outside of the Kaaba. The sa'i must be done 7 times, must be after the tawaf, and must commence at as-Safa and end at al-Marwa. So we have covered all this. So that's a summary by Habib Ahmad. Because he separates Hajj and Umrah in the arkan bites. Okay, we have went through in one shot Umrah and Hajj. So that's it. Inshallah next week we can cover the wajibatul Hajj, the requirements of Hajj. Inshallah. Allahu a'lam. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابة لنا في ديننا مع أهل القدر أنثى وذكر ربي وفقنا وفقهم لما تقتضي قولا وفعلا كرما وارزقه الكل حلالا دائما وأخل أتقيا علماء نحظى بالخير ونكفى كل شر ربنا أصلح لنا كل شؤون وأقر بالرضا منك العيون واقض عنا ربنا كل الديون قبل أن تأتينا رسل منون واغفر واستر أنت أكرم من ستر وصلاة الله تغشى المصطفى من إلى الحق تعالى والوفاء بكتاب فيه للناس شفاء وعلى الآل الكرام شرفاء وعلى الصحب مصابه الغرار اللهم اهدنا بهداك واجعلنا ممن يسارع في رضاك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا ممن خلف أمرك وعصاك وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين.